How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of NASCAR's DFS, FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Roller 31. Mega, welcome back to the show after a quick little exit from the Xfinity video. I hope everyone had a chance to listen to me try to fly solo, and hopefully I did fairly well. I won some money, so it must have worked.
Dude, you crushed it. I watched it. I was very impressed. You were on point there. So I did not make money, and it wasn't because of your video. It was because the Xfinity race was like the most tilting thing I've seen in a long time. But honestly, I lost a little over $100, but it was so worth it to see Ty Gibbs not win the race. Sorry if you recorded it and you're watching this, but dude, real men fight other men with their helmets off. Yeah.
Take the helmet off. If you want to throw a punch, take the helmet off.
What a sissy. My guy from work, Richie, was fortunate enough to go down to the race. And Richie, if you're watching this, if you see Ty Gibbs, give him a life lesson. If you're going to fight, take the helmet off. Take the helmet off. But anyways, this should make it interesting for weeks to come. So we've learned a lot from the trucks and actually from here. And from Xfinity is that tire wear doesn't matter as much here because there's guys that have stayed out like 3 cycles, and yes, some of the guys in the back were able to catch up, but Brandon Jones, who ended up winning the race, had like older tires, and Rhodes stayed out for 3 cycles in the truck race and was able to do well with that. And we have Chase Elliott on the pole here, and I don't think he's like as dominant as like say Kyle Busch or like Ty Gibbs has been in the other series, but you got to wonder, you know what, we haven't seen the best car or truck win either one. So could it be anybody's game?
I think so. And we'll talk about it here in a little bit about Chase Elliott. We'll kick it off with him here in a minute. I just wanted to continue on with the Xfinity race. I noticed the bottom groove on restarts is the absolute must. You need that bottom groove. So track position is going to be huge. Pits are going to be huge. Guys, that can gain positions on pit road. So maybe we'll take a deeper look at that before tomorrow's race. Guys that can gain positions on pit road are going to be a massive, massive, massive boost. And I think with the stages, it's going to come with some strategies. We know this is a longer race, so there's going to be longer green lap runs, hopefully. Now, there was tons of cautions in both the trucks and the Xfinity race that kind of led to a lot of pits where everybody would pit. There wasn't many green flag run pit stops, so we'll see how that changes pit strategies and how that changes at the end of stages if guys come to the pit road to get, track position once the, stage ends, things like that. So that's kind of what we're going to have to figure out before we can, get to our cores and things like that tomorrow. But anyway, all right. Now that we've talked about the fights, now we talked about some strategy, let's get into the driver picks. Chase Elliott, 11-2, winner of this race in the last 575 laps led. Looks to be the fast car on the track. Not many guys behind him I feel like can overtake him in early part of the run. So I feel like he's going to lead a lot of these laps. So,
yeah, I think I didn't have a final prime guy, and I'm going to list them. After what I've seen with the truck race and the Xfinity race, it seems like I don't really see any of these people challenging him to get out there early on, especially if you look at their practice times. Like Almirola, Custer, and Buescher had like fast laps. Byron's probably the only one that probably could get up there and catch him, but with a couple cars in between, even if they're slower, they're only going like 100 miles per hour here. This isn't like a 200 mile per hour.
Yes, like speed doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's very, very narrow. So I think you're right. Chase gets out there. I don't think Chase wins the race, though. Unfortunately, his crew has let him down. So let's call him like the first stage leader.
Dominator.
Exactly. Yeah. The first dominator. And then I think
or any other part.
Right. Which is fine, because if he gets out there and leads the first like 100 laps. I don't know where stage breaks. I'm assuming it's going to be 100, 100, and then 200 for the final. You'd think just mathematically with 400 laps, but I think that's
you're probably that's probably accurate.
But he's still going to probably finish in the top 5, and I think definitely he will do enough to pay off his salary. So
right.
We haven't projected it's like 79, almost 80 points here, and I think that's about right.
Yeah. And even if he doesn't finish inside the top 5, and if he finishes like, 8th, like we saw with Ty Gibbs still has scored 113 points, finished 8th. He started on the pole, but, all those laps led meant so much, and a lot of times here at Martinsville, if you're leading the lap, you're probably getting the fast lap too, so there's probably going to be tons of points at hand here for Chase. So he's going to be, highly owned, and I think he's a cash block. You just have to play him no matter what in cash. And then in GBPs, if you want to try to get cute and think, hey, maybe he spins the tires on the restart and Almirola gets around him on the front, who knows? You could try that theory in GBPs, 8 days of the week. But for now, I think I'm in on Chase, probably no matter what, given everything I've seen. Next up, we have those 3. Let's talk about them: Almirola, Custer, Buescher. Any love?
I think they're all going to fall back. I think they set their car up for qualifying, and I don't think that they're going to. I think they're very dangerous plays. Like the pricing's nice, but I think that they could all potentially fall out of the top 10. So, yeah.
No, big no for me for all 3. Doesn't matter. I think they're all going to fall back, and it's going to look good for them. It's going to look good for lineups that have them for like 50 laps. They're going to feel good about themselves, and then a couple of cautions, a couple of stage ends, and all of that's going right out the window. Byron, you did allude to him being able to catch Chase. I think that's true.
He won the truck race, starting last.
Yeah, he won the truck race. Looked like he had some good long run speed in this car. We said speed doesn't matter, but I guess it means a little something. Mm-hmm. But we want to look at the history here. In 6 races, he has 3 top 5s, 400. Nope, that's Denny Hamlin. No, he still does have 3 top.
Yeah. Yep, 8 races.
3 top 5. So, yeah, I think he's a GBP play.
Oh, I think he's a strong cash play. Like,
really?
if you're not gonna play Hamlin or Truex, I think he would be the 3rd option that you would want to play in your Elliott line.
Yeah, I gravitated towards the Truex Elliott combo, so I'm really struggling to find guys in the 9K range that I like. And Byron's starting a little too far forward. I think it's a little riskier for my cash build, but yeah, I can see it. If you're not playing Truex and you're playing Denny, then I get it. All right, next up we have Kevin Harvick, 8,400. He's kind of looked like he's come back to form. I feel like it's only because of my comments about how their season's gone. I feel like they're trying to stick it to me. But I played him last week and I profited off it. So, joke's on them. What are your thoughts on Kevin Harvick?
My thoughts are I came home from work last week and I was listening to the race on the radio, and then I put the groceries away and stuff. And then I got to eat my dinner, and I'll just catch the end of the race. And I turned on what is it, 2020? We got Denny Hamlin and Harvick battling for the win. What happened?
Yep.
I thought I
it
started raining. I was watching a replay from 2 years ago, but no, kudos to him. They figured it out. But again, it kind of scares me that these Stewart-Haas cars were really fast, but were they just trimmed out for qualifying? If I look at his all his composites here, if you look at the P rank, that's where they ranked at practice speed. Harvick ranked 23rd. We're looking Cole Custer 22nd. Right. Almirola was 12th, so that's not that bad. Buescher 16th. These guys, they obviously did something just on for a qualifying lap, but I don't think they're set up for the long run. And I don't think this is going to be like the Xfinity. Yes, it was a wreck fest, but it was more towards the end. There was actually some points where they had, and these are more professional drivers. And yes, you do have your Bullockys and BJ McLeods and Ross Chastain and Ricky Stenhouse that could spin out at any point. But
or wreck someone.
Right. But I think that this is going to be more of you're going to see some longer runs. There's more laps here, and I don't think that bodes well for like Harvick here. I think GPP, price 84 is not bad, but he's starting a little too far forward.
Agreed. Christopher Bell here at 9,100. He's come back to life. He's had really good outcomes in the last couple of races, a couple of top tens. Do you like Christopher Bell tomorrow?
I like him. Price is a little bit high. Like you say, it's in no man's land. I'd rather find the 400 for Byron. At GPP, I'm pretty good with it. I might stack GPP. Like the Gibbs cars, because it seems like you do this more play track where you like stack teams. But if you looked at it in the truck race, you had Rhodes and was it Enfinger who were like teammates that were like had a different pit strategy and worked together. You saw all the colleague cars kind of together. You saw like some Gibbs cars like close at the end up there. So it seems like teammate correlation is not like a must here, but it's something in a GPP to maybe consider. So I think if I throw him in with like a Gibbs stack, that's kind of where I'd go. I mean, I would be playing Chase Elliott in that. And I mean, Truex is kind of expensive and Hamlin also, so I'd have to probably get some scrubs in the rest of the lineup. But I think he's starting to learn this track. I mean, 4 races, he's finished them all, which is good. 1 top 10, average finish 16th. But I think, he's probably, if you looked at like what the finishes are, he's progressing. His form has been better recently. I think he's starting to figure this new car out. So I think he's viable to play in a GPP, but I wouldn't play him in cash.
Okay, I think I would definitely agree with that. Next up, we have Kyle Larson. I think he's a dark horse tomorrow to be a dominator. And I think because of, the recent finishes this year, he hasn't been the Kyle Larson that we've seen at, what was the second race of the year? Vegas, or was it Auto Club, California? The one that he won, I think it was Auto Club, where he dominated or won that race. I think a lot of people are going to go chase Truex, chase Hamlin, and I think Larson is going to be the lower owned of the group here in the high 10K 11K range, and I think he could be a dominator because it's Kyle Larson, right? And I like him for GPPs.
Actually, I'm kind of afraid of him here. He has the highest DNF rate other than 2 people. Justin Haley, who's raced twice here and finished 1 out of 2. So just throw that one out. And Michael McDowell, who is a 36%, but he's DNF 28% here. He is only, his average is 20th in his finish. He only has 2 top 5s. He's only led like 1.77% of the laps. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's a different Kyle Larson. And I didn't really look back to see like what he did last year here. Actually, I do.
He had a top 5, I believe it, but not really a dominator. I think if Chase Elliott dominates most of the race and Larson just has a better pitch strategy or just has a better car longer in the race and finds a way to close it, that's kind of like my angle here. And I like that strategy for GPPs.
I mean, he had 11.6 average running position last time out in the fall. I mean, that was in the playoffs. Spring race, 8.3. So that must have been back in his days before he was in Hendricks.
Chip Ganassi.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, look, it's a low owned GPP play. It's not a cash play. And,
definitely.
And I think you take a risk like that with a guy like Larson. That's a solid move for GPP.
He'll probably still have like 18% ownership. It won't be in the high range, but it will be, high just on namesake for. There's people that play DFS and NASCAR each week, and they just like, Kyle Larson, he's the greatest ever. Put him in my lineup, but really don't know what they're doing. So, thank you for your donation.
Yeah, but I still think Larson is a viable GPP play. All right, let's move on now. Let's get to Brad Keselowski, Todd Gilliland. I think Gilliland is a no. I think we know why. Qualified too high. And I just don't like where Brad K is, but he does super well at these short tracks. An average finish of 7.8, 6 races with a win, 5 top 5s. I mean, Keselowski crushes Martinsville.
Yeah, 2 wins, but I still like he's still in the period where he's lost a bunch of his team due to severe violations like 2 races ago. Yep. So I just, again, like 14th in practice, so it's not as bad as some of these guys that are in 20th in practice.
Right.
But I don't know, 79, the price is good, but if I landed on that and I needed one guy in my GPP lineup and I didn't have 100 more for Kurt Busch, I mean, I would take Austin Dillon, I think, at that point, unless I already had him in my lineup. I just can't see a scenario where I'd be in the 7,000s and I would want to put Keselowski in my lineup. So
I think he's fine.
Good.
Yeah. I think he's good for like 150 max major pool. You're going to get him around 8% ownership. Nobody plays Brad Keselowski unless it's like Daytona or something. Like, I don't know. I really like him in a GPP. But I feel like I got crazy GPP thoughts for tomorrow, so I might stay away from large entries or I'm going to get burned. Anyway, we got Kyle Busch, 10K. He's really good at Martinsville. Last 6 races, 2 top 5s. Any love for Kyle Busch?
The numbers, he's the second highest projected guy here. Yeah. He just seems to have like bad luck.
He doesn't dominate anymore.
And NASCAR hates him too. Like, what was last week? He's like driving around with tape on his grill, and then all of a sudden he starts advancing and getting close to the front, and then he gets black flagged out of nowhere, like for something that's been on his car probably for 100 laps or whatever. There's just so many intangibles with him that things go wrong, and he isn't even dominating the lower series. Like in the truck races, he hasn't won yet this year. I mean, he was there knocking on the door, but he wasn't by any means like in serious contention for the truck race here. So I don't know.
Yep. I'm not going to be, I rather play Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch, he just doesn't dominate cup races anymore. He never has it. The team's still guessing. I don't know, unless I feel like he's on the pole. I don't know if I can trust him to dominate. So like when that price tag's below 10K, yes. If it's higher than 10K, I might be like out.
What if it's right at 10K?
Well, that's where I'm at. I don't know. That's where
here's what you do. You start your GPP with Kyle and Kyle.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. You go with the Kyles, and you hope Chase Elliott loses out to Almirola or something early on in the race. Or like if in like lap 3 he gets caught by Byron some way battling with Almirola or something. But all right. Next up we have Ryan Blaney at 10.9. That's just a silly price tag, I believe. But he's got 6 races with an average finish of 5th here.
But they priced him before qualifying and stuff, and they're just probably looking at current form of like all the polls and stuff he's won. So,
I mean, he's. I think people are going to play Blaney over Kyle Larson, and I think that's the smart move. I'm going to play Kyle Larson for some stupid reason, but I think Blaney's a good play.
He's a good play, but I don't think he fits in like most people's cash build. So he's a little bit contrarian there. Yeah. But I think he's cash viable because I think he can. He's ran well here, but again, I guess, he's led over 300 laps and almost 400 laps in 12 races, but no wins, 5 top 5. So
maybe this is the one he leads no laps and wins at the end.
Yeah.
Calling it.
That's possible. Okay. There you go. Put your bet in on Ryan Blaney. He's not going to lead. He's going to lead the laps. That's the most important one.
If you could bet Blaney to win without leading more than 30 laps and then pull off that bet, I mean, that'd be pretty awesome. I wonder what the odds would be on that. Interesting. Anyway, Austin Cindric, 7,300. We did not play him last week. That proved to be the good call. What is our status here with Cindric?
Oh, last week he just looked really bad in practice, but here he was 9th. He qualified okay. I think he's back. He was okay here in Xfinity. This is his
Xfinity is always at Martinsville.
Yeah. So but I think he actually ran here in Cup because he should have more than 3 starts according to my chart here. But
I see Cindric. I don't see him on the list here for races, active races.
okay,
I don't know why that is. That might just be my stuff.
but he should race here more than 3 times in Xfinity. Anyways, I think he's a solid cash play here because I think that he's
like
one that could at 7,300 among like all these 9 and 10K guys. I like him better than Brad Keselowski. I think he can finish in the top 15 because looking below him, maybe Bowman, Truex, Bubba, Hamlin, and maybe one other. There's only, I think, 4 guys that could really. Okay, and Logano's behind him too. So maybe 5 guys that can get ahead of him. So I think 20 is the worst. But if we think that Almirola and Custer and Buescher are going, and Keselowski and Gillian are going to fall down, I think the math works out that he is going to finish around 15th or better.
Yeah, I like. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on board here with you with Austin Cindric. I think we've done fairly well getting this guy right this year, except for Daytona, obviously. Yeah, I like it. Let's move on here. We got Joey Logano and Alex Bowman, 2 9K drivers starting 14th and 15th, kind of in no man's land. Any specific one of these guys stick out to you?
I think I'd take Logano, but Logano was 17th fastest in practice. Bowman was 4th, so Bowman had some practice speed, but Bowman's average finish here is around 20th, and Logano is 12th. Both of them have a win. I believe Bowman, this was one of his backdoor wins last year.
Win. That's why Blaney's going to do it this week. Backdoor win.
But in 12 races, like he's only had 4 top 10s.
It's boomer bust.
Yeah, but Logano, like he's led over 1,000 laps here. So he might be one to consider as like a second wave dominator to get up there and to potentially lead some laps. And I can see them maybe doing some weird pit strategy or something to leave him. He seems like the one that would like stay out there.
Yeah,
like we saw like Eric Jones and some of the other ones do in roads in the Truck Series. I could see Logano doing that. He's comfortable leading here, obviously. I think that they could challenge some pit strategy just to make up the. I don't think he needs to. I think he's got some stage points already, so I don't think he needs to super contend for that. But I go Logano over Bowman here.
Okay, moving on to 2 probable fades, in my opinion, Mcdowell and Haley.
Yeah, Mcdowell definitely. If you look at his track history, it's absolutely horrible. Haley will give a pass too because he's only raced here twice.
Yeah,
but still, the only reason I left him as GPP is that 5,900 in context of all the other people in the price range. You might need it, and I'd take him over Cole Custer, who's starting way up there. But I still think he's like a little bit dangerously high here. I think he'll still finish in the top 25, but that would lose him 8 points. And my projection has him finishing 31st. But again, that's on a small sample size with, so I think that's a little harsh. I don't think he'll end up with -3 points. But I think in a GPP, if you absolutely need him, if you're trying to get a bunch of expensive guys in, I think he's viable. But other than that, McDowell, no.
No.
All
right, moving on to Kurt Busch and Chase Briscoe, 2 8K drivers. Kurt Busch, he's got some decent history here. 6 races, he got an average finish of 10th, 1 top 5. But those were with the Stewart Haas years. And Chase Briscoe, hey, best driver on the planet, right? I mean, this guy absolutely crushed Phoenix. Just looked like he was going to continue to kill everything in his path. I mean, I'm going to play Chase Briscoe from this day forward because I'm tired of getting burned by him. But I'm only going to play him in the 150 max. But I could see the route to taking him here. Any love for Briscoe or Kurt Busch?
Kurt Busch, I mean, he's a veteran. He knows the track. I think he's fine here. I just like Briscoe a little bit better because last year we were so hard on him because we said he moved up too soon. He was Daniel Hemrick. He was John Hunter Nemechek. He didn't deserve to be in the Cup. Somebody bought him the ride. He shouldn't have been in here, replacing somebody that retired. It should have been somebody else that should have gotten this ride. And then towards the end of the year, he started to put it together. And I think Martinsville race was like one of the ones at the end. And I think, he did pretty well there and showed us that, I think he belongs up in the Cup. We were starting to really be believers towards the end of the season last year. And I think that his successes started to carry over a little bit in the beginning of the season. He ran until he had like a mechanical problem. He ran really well at the really short track at the Coliseum. And the other thing that I look at with Chase Briscoe, he had his average running position at 16.9 in the fall race here. So, I mean, that's not great, but if you look, he's starting 19th, so that's not
like where
too bad. But here's the thing, Briscoe for every single race has experimented more with shifting than any of the other Cup drivers. Even at the Coliseum, he was trying to figure out how to shift this car, and none of the rest of them were.
Analysis.
And I was listening to like one of the pre-shows, and they were talking about shifting with Chase Elliott, like the difficulty in like having to do all the shifting here. And if Briscoe's been practicing that, I think that's going to translate and might be one of the X factors that helps him be a little bit more successful than some of his peers here.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Totally in on Briscoe because of that analysis. Great stuff there. Next up, we have Martin Truex Jr., the highest priced driver on the slate at 11.5. Luckily for us, they have made us play him. Well, luckily for us, his qualifying lap made us play him. Going to have a lot of Truex Jr. and not going to overthink it.
Yeah, I think he again, I think you
3 race wins in the last 6.
Yeah, you guys got to throw these numbers out. Like he hasn't been great this year, but then again, like out of nowhere, Denny Hamlin and Harvick like last week rose to the occasion. I think this might be the chance for him to do it tomorrow night. Also, he's the only thing that mildly concerns me about him is I believe that he's usually better at day races on hotter, slicker tracks.
The old Kevin Harvick theories.
Well, Kevin Harvick was the opposite. Truex, right. So Harvick was usually better at like if a race was extended or things started to cool off. When he got more grip, his car came more to life. But Truex seemed to be faster when it was slicker and hotter out. So again, this isn't a very, very long track, and it's more like accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake.
Yeah.
So, and he's been okay on road courses too. And a lot of the drivers were talking about like, that's why AJ Allmendinger did well. He said, this is the track that most resembles a road course as a circle. So
as mentioned in the Xfinity video, that's why we were on AJ Allmendinger. And Daniel Hemrick as well. But yeah, I love Truex. I didn't like the practice stuff, but I'm trying not to read too much into that because of, speed doesn't really matter. So hopefully the place differential here with the upside of leading part of the race comes into play.
And we've been saying, we've been saying before too, with Gibbs has 4 cars. They get 20 minutes of practice. Set up all 4 differently with things that you want to try.
Right set up. Yep.
Exactly. Somebody's got to be right. And then you'll learn from that.
Yeah. Yeah. They do that with Hendricks all the time. All right. So we have Bubba Wallace here, 6,400, starting 21st. It looked like a really good car in practice. Looked like it handled well. Just had that look. That car had that look in its eye, right?
So here's the story of Bubba Wallace.
You're the Bubba guy, so you got to tell us.
I know. Bubba won his first race ever at this track. This is Bubba's self-proclaimed favorite track.
Ooh.
So I always play him here.
We're in.
Yeah. He's finished every single race. His average running position is 21st, which isn't great, but look where he's starting, 21st. And again, a 6,400. If you finish where he starts, we're good.
Yeah.
But he was the third fastest in practice and qualifying. But then again, maybe they set up the car for like long run and it didn't qualify as well. I think Bubba is a really good play, and I think 6,400 is a sweet spot to help you get in some of the other plays that you need.
Cha-ching, we're in. Next up, we have Tyler Reddick at 8,600. Now, he has been a really good car this year. I think the next-gen car has really brought out the best of his skill sets, and that is being, level playing field, being, a guy that can get in multiple grooves. This car allows that kind of setup. So Tyler Reddick is going to be in my driver pool probably most of the year.
Yeah, I like him. And if we're talking about like prop bets on DK Sportsbook that don't exist, how many passes will Tyler Reddick have on the outside? Because he's one that
at least three.
Yeah, the bottom groove is definitely the preferred, but I can see on a restart him being able to get up and blow by some guys on the outside. I just don't know how he does it, but it just keeps on happening. So yeah, I think he's a cash play. A little expensive at 8.6. Again, might be in no man's land, might not be able to get to him, but he might be what you need to go down to off of a third 10K guy to balance out your lineup and feel really good about it and not end up playing Yaley, McLeod, and Bilicki.
Yes.
All in the same lineup.
And anytime I see he has a 0 DNF rate in 4 races or more, I'm going to play him. All right. Next up, Austin Dillon. He called the race tonight.
These two guys did. It's funny. They started 24th and 25th. They're like.
Denny called the race tonight? I thought that was Harvick.
No, it was Austin Dillon and Eric Jones.
Oh, it was Eric Jones? Okay.
Yeah.
Tells you how much I listen to the guys talking when the race is going on. All right. So Austin Dillon and Eric Jones. Do we like them?
I think they're GPP plays. Again, they're almost identical. Austin's had more races here. He's had 16, whereas Eric Jones has only had 10. All Eric has is one top 10 to show for an average finish of 20th. Dillon has at least 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. Obviously, if you're the top 5, but his average is 19th. They're almost identical. For the $600 savings, I would probably play Jones if I'm in this range. Petty GMS is actually having a pretty amazing season. They found some speed and consistency, and Austin Dillon just really has been average this year.
Yeah. Yep, I think I'm with you. I'd play Jones over Dillon in this price range. I might still have Dillon in the GPP pool, but honestly, it's trending to the no on that. Next up is race winner last week, Denny Hamlin at Richmond Raceway, 10-3. I think people are going to just gravitate towards him, and I think that might be a mistake. This is a track he loves, Martinsville, right? But I don't know.
I would never, ever want to sleep over at his house because he has 5 grandfather clocks at least.
I'm torn here then.
Every hour, that would be so annoying. But
you're right. But the last 6 races, though, he's only got an average finish of 11th with 3 top 5s. 450 lead laps, though. But he hasn't done that lately. He hasn't done that in the next gen car.
Yeah. And I think last week was an anomaly. Just
like Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
They don't dominate anymore.
But there's some nice place differential, but are you going to pay 10-3 for that? Or are you going to pay for like Ryan Blaney or Larson, who could potentially get up in lead laps, which is going to give you more points and probably move up the same amount of positions. So if Denny Hamlin moves from 25th into top 15, then that's the same as
45 points.
Yeah, that's Ryan Blaney moving from 12th up to 3rd. So
yeah, and I'd rather take a shot at someone like Blaney, who's had a better season. He has a lot better recent form here at this track. So you see what I'm seeing, and I think Denny could be a slight trap. So I'm going to be underweight to the field and go back to the same thoughts I had on Denny being checked out. All right, next up, and now he's going to be definitely checked out. He's locked into the playoffs so far.
But here's what people but here's what people are going to look at. They're going to look at like, wow, William Byron started in the back of the truck race and he made his way all the way up. And wow, right. Noah Gragson had to start dead last and he worked his way back up. But it's a different competition.
Yeah,
you have better drivers in front of you here. So
yeah, it's going to take him a while. So we'll see. All right, next up we have Corey LaJoie, 5,300. I had to talk you into this before the show. He's always a GPP play. You always got to have some LaJoie.
Yeah, I was just thinking he was starting a little far forward here at 26. I usually like him.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's just enough far forward for everyone not to play him, and that's just enough far forward for him to have a decent race. He finishes 22nd like every single race. I stopped hating and I started playing.
Okay, I'll give you this. I'll give you this one. Okay, you ready for this? This is why Corey LaJoie is a smash play. What number truck won the race?
7.
What team was that truck from?
Spire.
Yep. Who does Corey LaJoie drive for?
7.
And what's his number?
Or races for Spire, number 7.
Yep. There you go. The stars are aligned.
All that money he won in the truck, Spire's ready to shell it out into that car tomorrow. I'm ready.
Yep. There we go. He's in the.
There's your 5K play. You were looking for your 5K play. We found it. Well, there's another one we'll talk about later.
He's in the ultimate lineup right there.
Yeah, we have 2 5K plays. That's one of them. LaJoie's one of them. All right, next up is Ross Chastain, 8,800. Over under 3 cars wrecked from Ross Chastain tomorrow.
Oh, over. Definitely. Yeah. He's going to try to plow through. And that's maybe why I didn't want to play Corey LaJoie, but he should be on the side of him and not directly in front of him. Here's where the Denny Hamlin's the trap, because they line up even. Ross Chastain runs right into the back of him on the first lap.
Yeah. 100% he's wrecking at least 3 tomorrow. At least 3. He's not going to be satisfied until he does. So yeah, Chastain, more of attrition play.
You know who is out Chastain right now in between all the series is Joe Graff Jr.
Yeah, do you see the front end of that car?
That dude spins people out, runs into things, runs through things. Like I can't believe he's like one of the most creative drivers out there or one of the worst drivers out there. Even Natalie Decker did better in the race than he did.
She didn't even start, or she started, but she had to go to the garage. Yeah. Wow. No, Joe Graff's car tonight was hilarious. Yeah. Chastain, 8,800, not terrible. Lots of place differential here. I would play him over Denny Hamlin. I'd probably play Reddick over Chastain. Would you say that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I would still play both.
Yeah, definitely. And that might be like if you're going for like a balanced lineup, and you didn't want to like go with
like Chase dominates the whole race.
Yeah, right? So you take like William Byron, you take Bell as like guys up front that could get there, and then go with like Reddick and Chastain for some place differential. And then I don't have a calculator. I don't know how much is left to fill out there. Maybe Chase Briscoe's in the 8K.
Yeah, 82.
Also.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we're in on Chastain, but we can make fun of him at the same time.
Yep.
All right, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6,300, 47.
These guys,
Ross Chastain, Ricky Stenhouse.
Too.
Yeah, starting next to each other. What could go wrong?
There goes Corey LaJoie.
Yeah, Corey LaJoie is not much. Well, 19th average finish, 4 top 20s for Ricky. I'm going to play him.
Yeah. I think definitely there's some place differential, 6,300. He looked so bad in qualifying or practice, like 31st. He was so slow. Chastain was 20th. So, I mean, that's definitely looks better. So it's mildly concerning. Maybe they will figure it out and get the adjustments made. But I don't know. He's been kind of quiet in the last couple of races too. So if he fits in my lineup, that's fine. I'm not making a priority to play him by any means.
That's fair. All right, that's fair. Next up, Harrison Burton, 5,600. I don't play Harrison Burton, and I'm not gonna start.
I get it, but if you look at his track history here in Xfinity, he was actually quite decent.
Well, he won 2020.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he's in a better car than he was in 2020 Xfinity race.
Yeah.
He's in the Wood Brothers 21, and he hasn't done squat all year. I mean, I if he burns me, he burns me, but I'm just.
But then again, like it's the same thing as Stenhouse. I think he could be a cash play because there should be some place differential. He should, and just knowing what his Xfinity history is here. But again, he had like about the same speed in practice as Stenhouse did. So there's a little bit of a risk, but I'd rather play him than McDowell or Haley. If you look at the context of his price, pretty much, obviously Ty Dillon, who we're coming up to, is going to be the one you want. But if you need another guy in the range, I think he would be option B.
Yep. Okay. Next up, Daniel Suarez, 6,800. Thankfully, he is not too expensive. I really like this play. I like him over like a Dillon or Eric Jones. Suarez going to have a good race tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. 18th in practice.
Clean, that's all it's going to matter.
Yeah, he's got 2 top 10s out of 10 races. He's finished 9 out of 10 races, 22 average. He's starting 30th, so I mean, he definitely can make it into the top 25. That's no question whatsoever with some of these guys in front of him. So yeah, I think he's definitely a safe play. 68 might be a little bit too high for some of the builds, but I think he could definitely fit in a cash build, and he might be like the last guy in your lineup.
I could see it. Yep. Next up, we have Josh Bilicki, JJ Yeley, and BJ McLeod. Any love for some of the bottom feeders this week?
I just am with GPPs just because we saw like so many people have issues at this in both, that some of the guys starting in the 30s ended up just moving up a couple, and they became really good values because they get inflated already because it's the field's 40 at 40. So 36 starts out with 4 points. So if you look at it like right now, if any of these guys finish even like 34th, they're going to get 6 points, maybe lose a couple. So, but still at 4,800, it's better than a negative. If you take Todd Gillian at 52 versus Bilicki, and Gillian falls like 10 places or 20 places or gets out early, then that could be negative like 15 points.
Sure. Yeah, I could understand that theory. I could also understand not even giving them the time of day. So
and they also keep on saying that this is a track that you really need to learn. And Bilicki, who's actually teaches people to drive on road courses, Yaley and McLeod are all veterans. They've all been here before, and I think they kind of understand like how to drive around this track, and it's not super bad. Actually, surprisingly, BJ McLeod has raced here 3 times, and he's finished every single race, and 28th is not bad. The same thing with Bilicki. He's finished every 3 races, finished every single one.
Interesting theories here when you have plays like Truex, Chase. I mean, you could really fit both of them and a Larson and then punt one of our 5K plays and like a Bilicki. And then maybe still have room left over for Bubba. So
Yaley is the one out of them that I would be least comfortable with. I mean, he's had 20 races there.
The car.
He's led 1 lap, but he's DNF 25% of them. So
yeah, the car worries me. I think I'd rather play Bilicki, I think.
Yeah, Spire. Yeah.
Spire. Yep. That's the only reason why. So maybe I'd play some Bilicki tomorrow. Interesting. All right. Ty Dillon next up, 5,500. Another one of our 5K plays. Average finish of 19th in 4 races, 2 top 20s. Yep, I'm in.
Yeah, I think, he almost was a prime play here if I didn't.
Yeah, I can see it.
And, maybe I take it off of Truex and put it on him. So like, people, when they look at our core, can figure out what other 10K guy that they want in there. And I think I'm going to do it here live in front of everybody. I think you start your lineup with Chase Elliott, Dillon here. Good season. Definitely should move up. Wasn't bad in practice, was a top 30 there. I think they'll figure it out.
Qualifying lap.
Yeah.
And Cody Ware smashed in between AJ Allmendinger and Dillon is a fade.
Yep.
Probably last place car there. And then AJ Allmendinger wasn't able to make a qualifying lap because of failing tech 3 times. So he moves to the back. It's a lock and load.
Yeah, absolutely. He was 11th in practice.
Nothing wrong with the car.
Yeah, he had a really good Xfinity race. Like, didn't have a dominant car, but he kept it clean. He stayed out of trouble. And again, he says he loves this track because he's a really good road racer. And actually, he has run 21 Cup races up here. It's not like he's the Xfinity guy that's just popping up for a little bit. 2 5 7 top 10s, led some laps, and I think nothing but good things for him. So my lineups are going to start probably Chase Elliott, Dillon, AJ Allmendinger, and then I'll figure out who the next 3 are in cash.
I couldn't agree more. All right, Mega, that will do it for us for this week's breakdown of Martinsville Speedway, the BLUE-EMU maximum pain relief 400. 200 more laps than the truck race. This should be a good one. Please like this video. You can find us on Twitter at TKNation47, at MegaRoll31. You can follow the Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can find the link to the Discord in the bio. And guys, comment with any questions. We will be around to answer. And enjoy the race and hopefully make some cash.